What's up, everybody? It's Pre-owned Joni. It's the end of the year, and this is going to be the last video I'm going to do for this year. A lot of awesome stuff happened in 2018. I got to create and host my own DJ battle with Hot Import Nights called The Spinoff. I got to work for Pioneer DJ as a product demonstrator, and my goal of hitting 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year has actually passed a couple weeks ago, and we're also inching up to 6,000 subscribers possibly in the next day or so. So I just wanted to thank all you guys for that. Everybody who came out to my show, everybody I work with, and all you guys who have been watching my channel. Really appreciate it. So in the past couple months, when I started getting really active with my channel, a lot of my product reviews revolved around DJ gear. What I haven't really talked about much are my other instruments. I dabbled here and there about them, but I haven't really done any demos, reviews, or discussions about all the other instruments I had. So today, I wanted to show you guys and talk to you guys about my white Les Paul style guitar. And the reason why I'm choosing to do this video as my last video of the year is because it's a little teaser to show you guys that in the upcoming year, we're going to be doing more product reviews, demos, and discussions about all the other stuff that I play when I perform. So when I decided I was going to bring a guitar into my sets when I spin live, I always personally didn't vibe well with the Strat. I'm not saying the Stratocaster is a bad guitar. It was the guitar I started with when I first started playing when I was 12. And the sound of single coil pickups wasn't really my personal favorite. And it wasn't a guitar that inspired me to play more. Until in jazz band in high school, I picked up the other guitarist's black Epiphone Les Paul. And that rich, warm sound of the humbucker I fell in love with, because that was the tone that I wanted when I was playing. And then I stopped playing guitar for many years, and then in 2015, end of 2015, I decided, hey, let's do something different in my sets that isn't common in a lot of DJ booths that I play at. I have played keyboard live in my sets, but just like DJ equipment, you can't really get up to the crowd and play your instrument with them. I needed something that I can carry around and perform and isn't limited to the tabletop of a DJ booth, which is usually really hard to see what you're doing when it's so hidden. Yeah, so I decided I wanted to get a Les Paul style guitar. Now, why did I pick this guitar? And why did I go for a Fishbone instead of like an Epiphone or a Gibson? Well, number one, when I was doing some research, I wanted a Les Paul with a Floyd Rose. I know a lot of people think that's a weird combination. It's the Tremolo here. A lot of shredders use that. And I always wanted a guitar with a Floyd Rose. I'm a big fan of Eddie Van Halen. Gibson has a specific model for the Floyd Rose. It's called the Les Paul Axcess with a Floyd Rose. And it doesn't just have the tremolo on it, but on the back, Gibson would have a special contour on the heel and a tummy cut on the Les Paul Axcess. The price for a Les Paul Axcess with a Floyd Rose is usually brand new, about over $4,000, and used, maybe if you're lucky, half of that. And that's still way out of my budget. So I came across this guitar from a company called Fishbone, and they're based in Canada. Their websites are musicexpresscanada.com and overstockguitars.com. And I found this Les Paul style guitar that had a Floyd. Now, mind you, my guitar is very heavily modified, but we'll talk about it from top to bottom. And the thing about it is Canadian, it was about $400. And for a Les Paul style guitar, it did have the tummy cut and the contoured heel. And the Epiphone version with the Floyd Rose, the Pro Effects, doesn't have these contours. And then the Gibson ones are really expensive. And, I wanted something specifically with the two volume knobs and the two tone knobs. So that's why I didn't go for like an ESP LTD or any other Les Paul style guitar or similar guitar. I wanted something that was kind of a copy, but not an illegal copy. So I came across Fishbone and I found this guitar. Now, like I said, this guitar that I have is heavily modified. When I got the Fishbone in, when it was brand new, when I opened it up, it was sporting a Floyd Rose licensed tremolo and First thing I noticed was it was definitely not set up, and some of the frets were actually grinding. Now, when I ordered this guitar, they didn't have a white one, so they had to special order it. I ordered it in February. I didn't get it till June because they said that they were having it made. The owner of Fishbone Guitars was actually on the phone with me every now and then to give me updates about the build for this guitar. He gave me the option to do something other than white, but I really, really wanted a white guitar. When you look at the pictures online of this guitar, it says that it has EMG HZs. The owner of Fishbone told me that it won't be coming with EMGs. That's just for the picture. It's not mentioned in the specifications, but just in case you only saw the picture, it doesn't come with EMGs. It comes with something that looks like an EMG. It comes with a Floyd Rose licensed Tremolo. So it's a $400 guitar Canadian. And my mentality was a guitar that inexpensive and something that I can't really find a lot of information on other than their YouTube channel. I haven't seen anybody play this or do a demo of it. So my take on it was, if everything else is bad on this guitar, as long as it comes with a good body, good neck, and workable frets, then I'll mod the heck out of this guitar until it's perfect for me. Because at the end of the day, the guitar it's trying to be, is over $4,000 anyway. So if I spend about $1,000 total on this guitar and I get the exact guitar I want, which is basically what happened, then I'm happy. Yeah, so when I got the guitar in, a lot of the frets were really grindy. So I actually looked up a local luthier, and he actually helped me out, polished my frets, set the action and the setup right, and my guitar played well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from all the way from the headstock down to the body to let you guys know my experience with this guitar one by one from everything I modded. I think that'll be the easiest way to go. I have ADHD, as you can tell. I tend to go back and forth with things, but let's go from head to toe. So on this guitar, what I really, really liked that it came with was the Grover tuners. These tuners ratios are good, so I could get good fine tuning in there. We just kept the Grovers. Now, right here, you can probably barely see it. There are two foam microphone windscreens, like mini microphone windscreens, that I use to mute the strings, so you don't hear any ting right there. Now for the nut, we got a whole Floyd Rose system. So just to show the guitar, it does have the Epiphone angle, not the farther back one from Gibson, which I actually like because that keeps the strings from binding. Now going up, one of the cool things about the neck and the fretboard, even though this is an inexpensive guitar, the sides of the frets actually do not have sharp points. And the first time we polished down the frets, just because they were rough, they weren't perfect, so I had to actually have it professionally polished. So out of the box, the frets weren't the best. They were grinding the strings, like I said, and I was having a little bit of string buzz. So after a professional polish on these things were perfect. I can actually get the strings lowered below my own comfort zone. So I actually like them just a tad high because they're hard to bend when it's too low. And wherever that's at, where I have it to my taste, I have no problem with buzzing. Like I said, this guitar came with the Axcess heel, which means unlike a standard Gibson Les Paul, there's actually a contour here that allows my hands to reach the upper frets easily. Some Gibson models have a version called the HP. I don't know if Gibson's going to continue that because they come with the robot tuners everybody hates. But the HP models, which stands for high performance, have this Axcess heel. Now, the Tommy cut, I'm not sure if the HPs have the Tommy cut. This little contour right here for your body, you can see that right there, makes it easier for the guitar to sit right up to you, since a standard Les Paul is usually squared off. On the fretboard, so this is kind of interesting. Supposedly, according to their video where they were showing this guitar, this is a Rosewood fingerboard. But when my guitar was made was already after the whole banning of using Rosewood. So I'm not sure if this is Rosewood, because they were talking about how it almost looks like a dark ebony, but it's Rosewood. And if it isn't, I'm really curious to know what kind of wood this is. Like I said, this is the first guitar I bought in a long time. I'm not that familiar with looking at the wood and knowing exactly what it is. So if anybody ever wants to take a look at this and let me know, you know. So on the body, it is mahogany with a maple cap, and it has like a subtle binding. There's not the outline binding around the body. I wish it did because it would make it look a little bit more beefy. The paint job's not bad. There's a little couple blemishes. If there's one thing playing it is when your hands get a little clammy, it does start to build friction when you're going up and down the neck. So for the switch, I had the old switch changed because the other one was a little flimsy and it felt like after a while it might just break off. I actually planned on getting an EVH Wolfgang guitar, and I ended up with one, but it got returned because of warranty with vendor. One of the things about that guitar is that it has a reverse pickup selector switch. So on a Les Paul or Les Paul style guitar, down accesses the bridge pickup, up is the neck pickup, and middle is both pickups. On an EVH, it's the other way. So I actually had this switched, which down is neck pickup, up is bridge pickup. And when I first had it switched, it got really confusing. I had bridge selected up, but the bridge controls was volume and knob on the bottom. So I went back and had them also switch the knobs so it would coincide with the switch. So if I had selected up, Axcess bridge pickup, and they will be up. So that's how I have my guitar set up. Some people who pick it up get confused because it gets all warm when I set it down. And the reason why I have it switched, same reason why EVH has a switch. When I first played my guitar, I was hitting the selector switch with my hand when I was just playing. So if I have it up, which is the bridge, which I use the most, I don't have to worry about flipping the switch. Now, I'm going to skip over the pickups. I'm going to talk about the pickups later, but the Floyd Rose. Why did I switch to a real Floyd Rose Tremolo and the hot rod one? Well, the problem with the Tremolo that it came with, it was mounted just a little too close, and it was impossible to be able to intonate the guitar. So my guitar guy actually took the pegs off, filled it up, and that's what we use now for the Floyd Rose bridge. The other problem that was with the original Tremolo was the fact that one of the things they tell you when you have a cheap licensed Floyd Rose is that the metal is so cheap, it wears out, and the bridge actually doesn't go back to neutral when it's floating. Sometimes you'll have two positions and your guitar will be in one position in tune, and then sometimes it'll settle in another position that's out of tune. So I got rid of that. I was like, let's go for the real Floyd, and we installed this. And if you're wondering what this little red thing is, I also added the EVH D-Tuna. When this bridge is set for dive only, this allows me to tune the E down 2 steps to a D, press down, release, and then to re-engage E. Okay, now let's talk about the back. I have fu-tone.com medium tension springs. I think this is medium tension, but whatever they are, they're the yellow ones. You can see the block right there. And I actually changed the locking claw mechanism to what's called a Tremol-No. And what that is this whole piece that's connected all the way down to the block. What that does is these 2 bottom screws actually lock the whole bridge. So I get no action on the whammy bar at all. And if I lock this screw right here on the very top, it actually blocks the bridge from going up, but allows me to dive only. So I kind of had the EVH in mind also when I did this, because one of the things that I really, really hate is when I had it floating, when you take the guitar to a place of a different temperature, sometimes the shift in the way the wood reacts to the temperature throws your guitar out of tune. And having it floating was just a nightmare. For me, I enjoy having it block more and doing dive only than having it floating. I never go up when I play, so, and having it blocked is required when you use the D-Tuna anyway. So another thing they had to do, because there is a bigger block, my guitar guy actually routed it more and opened up the hole to accommodate the block. I play with the cover off because I do sometimes need access to this cavity. Okay, other stuff. So recently I had all the pots upgraded, 500K pots, tone and volume. I had the factory volume control actually go bad on me during a gig, but luckily it was just the neck pickup. And it's like it came loose because whenever I would tap it, it would intermittently come back. So just had the whole thing changed. Now the pick guard right here, this was a nice thing that the owner of Fishbone actually did for me, was because he knew I was waiting long for this guitar to be made. He asked me what I wanted to be written on the headstock, and I said, cool, can you put my name? And he's like, oh, your name's kind of long. But wait, I think we can put it on the pick guard. So that's what he did for me. And what's cool is this is not a decal or a sticker. It's actually engraved in there. Okay, so let's talk about the pickups. The original pickups that came with these were black, and my biggest issue with them, they sounded great, but like some inexpensive guitars, you will come across a humbucker that is not wax potted, and you sometimes don't even realize that there was something wrong with them until you walk into a big venue where there's a lot of volume on the speakers, on the amplifiers, and you start feeding back. Factory pickups that came with this guitar was just terrible for feedback. I really couldn't turn up the gain on the distortion. Way too loud. I had to kind of keep it in overdrive settings. In the studio, it's a controlled environment. I had no problem using them. And I actually liked how they sound. But those original pickups were a pain in the butt whenever I take them to gigs. So what did I switch them with? Seymour Duncan P rails. And it has the triple shot pickup ring. So what are they? A P rail is actually a humbucker that is one part rail, which is the line that you see right there. And then the other part is a P90 pickup. So when you use them together, it's a humbucker. But if you have the switching capability, you can individually select each one of these pickups if you want P90 only or if you want the rail only. So that way, some people with a Les Paul or a Les Paul style guitar have an ability to sound more like a Strat if you needed to get those sounds off one guitar. So what does a triple shot pickup ring do? I originally was going to have push-pull pots to do the selection, but when I was doing more research on these pickups, I realized to have complete control to all the functions of this pickup, the best way to go is to actually use the triple shot ring. What do these switches do? Well, the way they're wired is when the switches are both inward, the humbucker is engaged in series and the current is flowing end to end. And that's basically how a standard humbucker is normally wired. When both are outward, both pickups are still on, but now they are in parallel and often referred to as out of phase. What happens is the gain's a little lower, but it's a lot brighter sounding. Now, when I have the switches both switched this way, which is the direction of the rail, now the rail only is activated. So I have sort of a standard single coil tone. Now going the other way, both switches going towards the neck, I have the P90 pickup that's in there activated. So I was debating if I was going to get these pickups or a set of active EMGs. While I play a lot of heavy riffs and high gain leads, I'm actually really happy I chose these because this guitar is kind of my workhorse, and because it's my only electric guitar at the moment, I kind of needed to have a versatility in how many tones I can access versus being good at specifically one thing. My favorite thing to use it for is actually doing chords, because I noticed when I had my EVH, power chords just sounded better on this guitar. It's good with warm tone, especially in series humbucker mode. So would I recommend the Fishbone Les Paul Axcess style guitar to you guys? Well, it depends what you're going for. Like I said, when I got this guitar, I had the plan and intent to modify it until it got to the point where I was happy with it. And it's just about there. And if you're looking for a guitar that's just going to work out of the box, I'm a little hesitant to recommend this to you guys. For how much I paid for this, you could probably find a decent single cut guitar with 4 pots at Guitar Center, even with a Floyd Rose. So very, very specific specifications I wanted for my workhorse, which, you know, the Axcess heel and the tummy cut. And this was the only thing available that I found. I'm not sure if there's anything new out there, but I wish Epiphone would do this. Some people might ask, why didn't you just get a Pro Effects? And, you know, that was the reason. Why didn't I just pick up a Gibson and modify that? Well, I'm not going to mutilate like a real Gibson Les Paul, especially since it's my first guitar that I'm modding. First guitar I purchased in a while. I'm a little rusty at working on it and making decisions. So this was almost a make it or break it guitar. Basically, I wanted a versatility of sounds. Had features for my shredding side, but had the tone for playing lightly. And that's what I use this for. So if I had to make a recommendation or a couple suggestions to Fishbone to improve this model, let's double check the Floyd Rose license before it leaves the factory. Because the one I had was like, it was acting like it was already worn out, even when it was new. Let's pay a little bit closer attention to the distance, because I would say try to set it up before it leaves the warehouse, because you guys would find out that it might have been mounted incorrectly. If you guys could please Photoshop out the EMG HZ logo on the pickups that you guys have on your product pictures, because I'm sure that might have misled some people to think that they were loaded with EMGs when they're actually not. The reason why we were able to move the tremolo was because of the big cavity that the pegs were sitting on. But yeah, this is the guitar that I use in all my performances, almost all my videos. And but in 2019, hopefully I will have a sister for this guitar, which is an EVH Wolfgang Special. I had the standard before, but now I want the special. And I'll be using it more for lead parts, while I use this guitar for warmer tones and rhythm riffs. Hope I wasn't too much of a noob on guitars. This is my first modded guitar and basically my second guitar in life. If you guys have any suggestions or recommendations, what else I should be doing to this personal instrument of mine, be sure to leave it in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to click that bell icon so you get a notification the next time I upload a video. So yeah, my name's Joni. This is my channel. We don't just do DJ gear here, we do music. Have a great New Year, everybody. Have an awesome day. Later.